What is your thought process on health and wellness in numbers and volume?
We want to look to Gallup a little bit and Rath and Harder, who in 2010 put out that book called The 5 Essential Elements of Well-Being. And they made it really clear that of the 5 elements, career holds the trump card. So people who have high career or purpose well-being are 50% more likely to be thriving in life overall. So while we come into all of these different programs and interventions that we want to throw at people to keep them healthy, to contain costs and improve productivity, you just got to say what's the point? Because being healthy and well is a lot more than bicycling and broccoli, right? It's about your social emotional well-being. It's about your community well-being, your financial, your physical. Yeah, that's a big deal. And now, boom, kaboom, put career and purpose well-being on the table and say 50% more likely. That's huge. And when you say what are those key predictors to good career well-being? Leadership. People don't leave jobs. They usually leave crappy work environments and they leave crappy bosses. Yeah, so leadership is everything. So if you want to improve the health of your people, invest in leadership development.
What do you think just the tipping point is in that space where we are on that climb? Because the numbers are there, the stats are there about people leave, crappy environments and bosses. The stats are there about how much you're saving in turnover and how much they're paying today in replacement costs, let alone, again, the health and well-being of the physical health of people. Where do you think we are in shifting that tide? Because a lot of folks who are still in power are still holding on to the way it was, and they have the key to actually make the decision. Where do you guys feel like we're at in terms of the scale of tipping over?
I think with the last 10 years of us having the longest running positive stock market ever in the last 10 years. Yeah. And, Gary Vee talks a lot about people change when there's carnage. And I don't know that the current leaders have had to face the types of decisions. They can afford to buy another business quarter or business year doing what they used to do. And I think, if you've been in business or been a business owner through a recession or two, you see that you can table those things really quickly and have to come up with new solutions. So I wonder if we've been in a relatively positive work environment, relatively positive financial situation, that it hasn't forced big companies to face the fact that, you guys clearly articulate the cost of turnover, and they will agree with that. They'll give you the numbers. Right. What does turnover cost you? Oh, it costs us $30,000 an employee. But they're not going to change their behavior, probably because they don't yet have to. But I wonder if you get a little tweak, a little shift in the economy.
Yeah, and will they call you up and still invest in your services when that's probably when they need it the most, right? Because I do think sometimes still culture is like the cherry on top. It's still treated from a corporate standpoint as the last thing or the luxury, or if the foundation is good, then we'll add it on top, right? Whereas what you're saying is the whole thing will crumble if we're not thinking about it.
So one of the questions earlier was, I can't remember exactly what you were talking about, but one of the thoughts that came into my mind is, was small business versus big business. Well, it shouldn't matter what your size is if your leadership is strong and your values are strong. If your corporate values are rock solid, and that is actually what you live and breathe in, and that's how leaders live it out, and therefore that's how employees live it out, it shouldn't matter how big you are. That should resonate through, and it should stick, and that should sing. It should just sing. You can feel it when you walk into that workplace.
Well, if leadership doesn't buy into those values, or live them, as you said, then it doesn't matter how many programs you send at it, or dollars you put in, or free happy hour, or pizza, or just
beer, whatever day, and ping pong tables and that type of thing. And all of that's great. And I think a lot of the attention gets to that, slides and sleep pods and free this and free that and whatever. And I think a lot of people are getting caught up in culture. Do you feel like that is creating a market or industry of cosmetic culture versus the real substantive things that actually affect people's lives?
I think if my employees care half as much as I do, I'm doing something right.
Right.
And I'm okay if my team does check out at 5 o'clock and leaves it at the door.
I think whenever you started to have the concept or the idea of leave it at the door, that somehow a human being that was three-dimensional, excuse me for that, but a person that's three-dimensional that has all of these layers could come to a place of work and click it off and leave it at the door and come in here and be a different type of human that's only professional, that doesn't have any feelings, that doesn't, are not being affected by the things that they're being affected by outside of the door. I think it created this level of duality where people had two lives. You had a work life and you had a home life. And we talk about it all the time, which is, what's your home life balance? And we try to convince people to really think about it as, integration. I don't stop thinking about work when I'm at home, and I don't stop thinking about my wife when I'm at work.
I mean, I'm sure that they are still thinking about work, or if something's bugging them, they're three-dimensional for sure, but...
Do you think they should leave it at the door when they come in, though? Do you think that's realistic?
Maybe the opposite one's probably
Home, maybe, but when they come in, do you think they could leave all of that
Oh, yeah,
at the door when
absolutely. I
they
mean,
come
we
in?
just had a person come back today, first day back from maternity leave. I mean, that's an emotional day, right? So there was flowers and someone got her coffee. And, you can't separate that. But yeah, going home, I don't want to put my baggage on them, right?
sure.
And say like, as the founder, we didn't hit our goal last month, so you need to know that and take it. I think that's unfair.